In the Right Podcast is a proud member of the Borellis Podcasters Guild. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is In the Right Podcast with Curt, Fletcher, Season 2, Episode 25. I think that's right. That should be right. 25. Guest today is Giancarlo. He's a comedian I met in Albuquerque a few months ago. Super nice guy. Let's go talk to Giancarlo, everybody. All right, Giancarlo, what's going on, buddy?
All good, all good. Just got out of the gym. I'm
Nice.
pretty tired right now.
Oh, me too. I just helped my stepdad move a mattress, and I'm exhausted.
Oh, dude, I feel like moving is a lot harder than actually doing workouts.
I'm glad you said that because
Sure.
I felt like a piece of shit afterwards.
I have a friend who's a power lifter who had like a YouTube channel with his for fitness, and he's like, dude, I could deadlift like 700 pounds, but I hate moving things to a new apartment.
That's so fun. Yeah, moving sucks, man.
Oh, I hate it, dude.
I have asthma too, so like any type of activity, and I just get tired like so quickly. Like especially now that I turned 40 recently, like when I was younger, like I'd go outside and play all the time and stuff, and that's fine, because I played every day. But now that I'm older, like it's just man.
Did you get COVID?
Did I? No,
No.
not yet.
Oh, awesome.
I'm hoping. I just want all the sympathy likes on Facebook,
For sure, like, oh, I beat COVID. This is horrible. And you're probably like asymptomatic, and people are like, you're so strong.
I would die. I'd probably die. If I can't even move a mattress outside without having an asthma attack.
Oh man.
Yeah, you excited for the fights tonight? You gonna watch those?
Oh yeah, dude, big time. I was actually covering it on my podcast, Unemployed Commentators.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty excited about this fight because it's 7 years in the making. This is the first time I saw Conor McGregor was on their first fight, and I think it's just going to be a crazy fight. But I say that, and it's just probably going to end second round by Conor McGregor knocking Dustin Poirier out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you have any predictions for the other fights?
Yeah, this other fight, people are kind of sleeping on it. It's Chandler versus Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
And people are counting out Chandler because he's a Bellator fighter and he's UFC. And he's also 5'7", while Hooker's like 6 foot tall. And he's like a very like long kickboxer. Like he knows how to keep his distance. But like Chandler is a pressure fighter, man. Yeah. I think he's just gonna get into the pocket, score some boxing combinations, and just go for the takedown because he is like I'm not sure if he's an All-American, but I know he's a really good wrestler.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was watching a wrestling match last night. It was Iowa versus Minnesota, and my friend's son wrestles for Minnesota. He wrestles 133 pounds and he's 6 foot tall. And it's just crazy to watch him wrestle against other 133 pounders.
Damn.
Because he's like half a foot taller than those guys.
Yeah, dude. That's basically my division in grappling. And it's like I see these tall, lanky fighters that I'm going to be grappling against. And I'm like, man, if they just lock in a triangle, I'm done.
Yeah.
I am done, dude. I have a small body.
Yeah, it's so funny that those guys can be in a similar weight class to some of those other guys. And it almost seems unfair because they're so tall and they can get to those different moves that, the shorter guys can't do. Mm-hmm. But
it's funny because Joseph Benavidez, who's 5'4", who now fights at flyweight at 125, in division is Dan Hooker, who's 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
At 145. And Joseph Benavidez is 5'4", bro.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's so fun. Have you ever fought like an actual fight professionally or?
I just did 2 amateur fights back in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I liked it. I just don't like the concussions, so I just stick to grappling.
Yeah.
It's the headaches are not worth it, and I think I'm smarter than I think I am, and I just want to keep my brain cells for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine like just taking all those blows to the head what that does to you.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of NFL guys have issues with that after their careers and stuff like that. Like, I assume a lot of the MMA guys have issues like that too.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much as football players just because
Yeah,
the helmets.
yeah,
I think football is actually the sport with the most concussions, even comparing it to
hmm
boxing. Then I think boxing is a close second.
yeah,
Just because of the padding, I think the padding is just worse. With you got gloves like the tiny, I think it's probably like maybe 2 ounce gloves that the UFC has.
hmm
I mean, it still does produce concussions, especially like, but it's not going to be as bad as like boxing where they have so much padding as with those 12 ounce gloves,
uh-huh.
where I think it's safer just to do bare knuckle.
Yeah, no kidding.
hmm they with bare knuckle, all you got to worry about is just cuts. But like to tell you the truth, I'd rather have like a gash on my forehead than to have like a concussion, and I'd be just slurring my words.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I had a cousin who fought doing MMA for quite a while, and he only lost. I think he lost 4 fights total, and they were all at the beginning of his career. And then he started figuring out. I think he said he struggled fighting with the jiu-jitsu guys at
Yeah.
first, and then he figured them out. And then he won like 30 some fights in a row. And then he was asked to fight at, I think it was UFC 72, which was way back in like 2007 maybe.
Yeah, probably
And
2007,
I
2008.
think it was May 2007. And he was supposed to fight this guy named Dean Thomas.
Oh, I know Dean Thomas.
Yeah, I know Dean actually too. That's funny.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to fight Dean Thomas, and they only gave him like 2 weeks prep time. And my
Oof.
cousin at the time was like 21, and at first he accepted it, and then like he was doing some research on Dean Thomas, and he's like, maybe not,
I
because
think
Dean
that's a
had already
smart
been in
decision.
for like 12 years. He was like
Yeah.
32 at the time, and so my cousin turned it down, and this guy he used to train with, Jeremy Stevens, ended up taking the fight, and I think he lost. So it was kind of funny because like 2 years ago, I was out in Los Angeles and I was doing a comedy show, and I was kind of looking at the people who were on the show, and there was a guy named Dean Thomas, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And I was like, "That's the guy my cousin was supposed to fight." So I get to the venue early, and I'm sitting there, and there's only one person there, and it happened to be Dean Thomas. So we started chatting and stuff, and I told him how my cousin was supposed to fight him and all that. So that
That's
was kind of
funny.
cool. So he does stand up now, which is pretty cool.
I know. He's on this show called Looking for a Fight
Oh yeah,
with Dana.
oh
And
yeah.
yeah, he's also like a world-class coach now too.
Is he?
Yeah, he's been producing some top talent at American Top Team down in Florida.
Oh cool.
But he's been doing a lot of comedy. He even did like a comedy challenge and acted like he never did it before. I'm like, this guy did it before.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because we are chatting that night, and because I was leaving LA like right after the show, and I told him I was just gonna drive a few hours and sleep in my car and then drive the rest of the way the next day. And he's like, "Damn man, you sleep in your car?" He's like, "I love comedy, but I'd never do that shit."
How is that life as a road comic? Are you just so used to sleeping in the car, or do you just get?
I don't do it very often. It's like now that I'm getting older, like I can't do the longer drives as well as I used to.
Yeah,
I mean, I still do if I have to, like if trying to beat a blizzard or some shit.
yeah,
um, yeah, I mean, you get used to it after a while. I know some people aren't, it's not their cup of tea, but I've always liked it. I've always enjoyed it. Like, I stay in different hotels all the time and pretty much live out of my suitcase, and been doing that for, over 10 years. So you get
that's
used to
crazy.
it.
I bet.
Yeah. And the
Weren't you
shows
in
make it worth it, like just making people laugh all the time. Like there's not a better job than that.
for real, man? And you were in South Dakota last weekend.
Yeah. I
How
was
was it?
doing a winery gig. Yeah. I was great, man. The people up there like really appreciate you coming to their town. Like it's a small town. I've been going there for 6 or 7 years now, and performing at that little winery. They built they build a little stage. They do a comedy show once a month, like in the winter months, because they're so busy during the summer, they don't even have time to do anything like that. So, so it's just something to draw in some people in the wintertime, and that's really cool. It's pretty similar to a comedy club crowd. Cool. So it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. You can get away with push the envelope a little bit, Yeah.
And are they open over there?
What's that?
Are they open over there, like fully
South Dakota?
Open? Yeah.
No. There were. I know the restaurants were takeout only. And the winery itself was. I think they were open. I'm not sure how they got away with that.
That's crazy.
I think most of the restaurants were takeout only anyway. I don't know. I was only there for a couple days, so okay. I wasn't really. But a lot of people there aren't wearing masks. I'll tell you that.
They're just like, fuck it. If I die, I die, man.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess South Dakota's like, well, it's not gonna hit here. So we're in South Dakota. Like
nobody comes to South Dakota.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's that's it's a weird thing. That's how Oklahoma was too when I was there. Like not a lot of people wearing masks and stuff.
Dude, it's football country there too, man. The
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Big wrestling fans there too.
Yep. 100%.
The Wrestling Hall of Fame is actually in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
A couple times, yeah.
You're cool. A huge fan of wrestling, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching it since I was young. I even learned how to wrestle when I was like probably second grade.
Wow.
And the guy who came into our class and taught us won a national title, so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, like in wrestling in Puerto Rico is basically non-existent.
Really?
Like for an American wrestler, when they're like going in the Olympics and they have to wrestle a Puerto Rican wrestler, they're like, fuck yeah, easy round.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because it's just basically non-existent. There are no clubs. I wanted to get into wrestling so bad when I was in Georgia. Yeah, I wanted to, but then I moved to Puerto Rico. I was like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So like
Georgia's actually becoming a pretty good state for wrestling. That like they haven't been for a long time, and then recently they've had some pretty good guys come out of there. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
With the Bulldogs?
No, just like the state itself.
The state itself?
Yeah, I don't think there's not a college team there, but there's some pretty good high school teams down there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like with my jiu-jitsu, man, I'm just learning from like the start of like just wrestling. Because it's such a different language, man.
It is, man. Yeah, it's crazy because like my cousin that did MMA, he didn't start wrestling until middle school. Yeah. And I think if he would have started when he was younger, like most kids in Iowa do, like he would have been really good. Like he was really good already. Like, I mean, he's always a tough kid. And then like he started in junior high. He ended up on the varsity team.
Wow.
Sophomore at a really good wrestling school. And ended up making it to state 3 years in a row. I think he made it to state his first year with a losing record.
That's crazy.
Because he started off really slow. Like he didn't really know what he was doing. And then the coach worked with him, and he ended up winning like districts or something like that. So he got into the state tournament with a losing record. And then he placed at state in his junior and senior year. So he actually wrestled Brooks Wheelan, who used to be on Saturday Night Live. He's a comedian now. And he said he was really hard to wrestle because he was like tall and lanky and shit.
It was fun. My mother, man, she was like totally against the idea of me wrestling just so I wouldn't wear a singlet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's like, no, you're not wearing that. No. That, no. Eso es mariconería. Meaning like, oh, that's gay. You shouldn't do that. And of course, like during the early 2000s and like the late 90s, every parents were just afraid of their kid going gay, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is silly, man.
It is. It's so silly.
Real, dude. It's kind of like, no, I'm trying to learn how to survive out there.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, wrestling's a great skill, man. Like, a lot of people I know, like I said, started when they were 5 years old and stuff. And like my good friend that I tour with all the time, Tim Gaither, like he started when he was really young, and man, he would look the shit out of most people. I think that would come at him, and he's a little dude, but he knows how to put you in different positions that you can't get out of.
For sure. It's like boxing, man. You have to start them young.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and
like
Albuquerque is a great boxing town too.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been in Albuquerque?
For 2 years.
2 years? Okay.
Yeah, 2 years this actually 2 years this month.
No kidding. Nice.
Yeah.
What brought you to Albuquerque?
My girlfriend's an actor. She
right on,
wanted to move down here. Yeah.
Cool.
We met in Colorado. I've been in the United States for a total like almost 4 years already.
Okay. Right on.
Met her over there. She's like, I want to move to Albuquerque, and I had like this really good like paying cooking job with like health insurance and all that. And I was like, are you sure you want to go? Like Denver is nice. We have a nice loft. We have a view of the city. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, I got to do it. Like, I just want to see how it is. And I was like, well, fine. It's probably going to be more of a work-life balance in New Mexico anyways. And it was true, man. New Mexico was the move, and I was more than happy to be here. And I love it here. I'm not leaving.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Nah, I'm not.
Cool, man.
Because I was, but then
I don't know. There's just so many. You're planning on going back to Colorado.
Yeah, there's just so many opportunities here.
There really are, man. Does your girlfriend have an agent here?
Yeah,
cool.
She's with the O agency.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm still
considering it.
Oh, you should, man. Yeah. I was thinking about trying to find an agent myself. I know a couple of them, so.
Oh, cool.
I got some connections, which is nice. I just need to reach out, and not really a great actor, but
nowadays you don't really have to be.
You don't have to be. That's the thing, yeah. Because I was actually working with this guy a few years back, and he was telling me he's like, hey man, you ever go to LA and try acting or anything? He's like, nah. He's like, you should, man. He's like, I'm not really a good actor, He's like, you don't have to be. He's like, you just be yourself, be a funny sidekick or something like that on a show. And,
sure.
I was like, yeah, I could do that, I suppose, And I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, because that guy was on SNL and shit, so he knows his stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like the dream gig for a comedian is just being that best friend.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just delivering smart-ass lines the entire time.
Yep, just one-liners, and that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, I could do that all day.
For sure, man.
That's cool you're staying in Albuquerque, man. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So did you start what am I trying to ask here? So you train here in Albuquerque. Where do you train at?
10th Planet Albuquerque.
Okay, that's right. And you just got like some kind of belt recently, right?
Yeah, I got my blue belt.
Blue belt.
Yeah, it's so the rankings in jiu-jitsu is white, blue, purple, brown, black.
Okay.
So I actually had my blue belt before in Puerto Rico, but I was just saying to myself, the levels in jiu-jitsu in the States, it's just way higher than it is in Puerto Rico. So I was like, I'd rather just start all the way, like all over again.
Okay.
And I asked my coach if I could. He's like, yeah, sure. And I'm glad I did, man, because if not, my game would just not be as complete as it is today.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. It's addicting, man. Once you see like your progress, you just want to keep on going and going.
For sure, man. Yeah, I could see that. And you train with Carlos Condit sometimes?
Yeah, he trains mostly his grappling there.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, he did a great performance. I was really surprised at how he just mauled Matt Brown on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was like surprised too. He just did takedowns. No one saw Carlos doing takedowns before. Yeah. He was the kickboxer.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I need to get more into the UFC. I used to watch it all the time when my cousin was involved and stuff because he knew a lot of the guys, so I knew who to watch for and stuff.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since I've really paid attention to it. I've watched some fights here and there, but man, some of these guys I don't even know who they are. Like Carlos, obviously I know, being around Albuquerque and stuff. I actually saw him at one of my shows one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was opening for Jim Norton, and he was there. I was like, that's cool.
That's hilarious. it's funny because I wasn't really like watching all the fights like for like a few years. I would just catch one here and there. But then
Mhm.
after the lockdown happened and there were no sports, there were nothing to do. And I was just like, dude, like from working out like 6 days a week to like doing nothing, I literally had to like buy a 4 pack a day and play video games. And then I was just like, this is not healthy. Let me just watch some fights. And there was
Yeah.
a fight every weekend. The
Oh
UFC
yeah.
just happened to have an event every weekend.
Uh-huh.
That was insane in my opinion. I was just so hyped about it because it was just there was no NBA, there was no NFL, so I was just
Hmm.
like, fuck it, and I just bought myself a subscription to ESPN Plus, and I was never bored on a Saturday, man.
Cool. Who are some of your favorite fighters?
uh, like all time or just right now?
Let's do right now and then all time.
Okay, right now, fighters that I've been like loving to see fight has been Corey Sandhagen. He fights out of Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, him. He's a bantamweight contender. I think he's number 2 in the world. And I gotta say Justin Gaethje too, who's a Denver guy,
Oh
and
yeah.
obviously Carlos Condit, man.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Got to root for the local dudes.
for sure. And then of all time, it had to be like Frankie Edgar,
Yeah.
George St. Pierre, and Khabib, of course. And then it's like, and like Diego Sanchez was the one that really got me into it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw his fight against Clay Guida, and it was
Oh
the
yeah.
Ultimate
Yeah.
Fighter 7 finale. Bro, that was one of the greatest fights of all
I remember
time.
that fight. Yeah. Clay Guida is always fun to watch too. Yeah.
For sure, with his hair like going everywhere,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just fighting. It was the most non-technical fight, but
Yeah.
it looked like an anime fight. It was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and and I love Dominic Cruz's footwork.
Yeah.
That's one guy that I try to emulate his footwork
Oh
with
cool.
whenever I do kickboxing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I remember the first time I ever saw John Jones, and it mentioned that he went to or he wrestled at Iowa Central,
Oh,
which is in the town that I used to live in.
that's crazy.
And I was like, holy shit. So I called my cousin. I was like, dude, you know John Jones? He's like, yeah, I used to live with him. I was like, oh shit. So apparently my cousin helped John get into UFC and stuff like that. Like he used to live with, it was John Jones, uh, what's his name?
Colby Covington.
Colby Covington.
Yeah.
And there's another guy. Um, let's say his last name's Soto.
Was it Joe Soto?
It might have been. I remember the third guy wasn't. He's in UFC, but he's not as popular.
Was he a
Yeah.
smaller dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Joe Soto.
Okay.
Probably.
So yeah, they were all on a wrestling team together at Iowa Central,
That's crazy.
and my cousin was getting those guys into like MMA type stuff, and the wrestling coach didn't like my cousin because of it, because he would have been focusing on wrestling and stuff. So they ended up getting in a big brawl with the wrestling team.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. My cousin told me some crazy stories about this. I'll have to have my cousin on the podcast and have him tell some of those stories.
For sure. That's crazy. Kobe Covington is I think he's the guy to beat in that division.
Yeah,
he's a
badass, man. Yeah, my cousin's friend knocked him out in a, I guess they're just brawling.
Really?
Yeah. So he used to always anytime Colby was on TV or something, my cousin would get a phone call from him, and that guy's like bragging to his friends. So he's, getting confirmation from my cousin. He's like, "Hey, tell these dudes I knocked this dude out."
Yeah. That's fucking funny, man. Yeah, he only has 2 losses in his career.
Yeah.
One was with a choke, and I think it was kind of like a fluke. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And then just the championship fight against Kamaru.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Like I remember seeing his name, and then he just kind of blew up. Also, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think did you cut out there?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Oh man, so how long have you been doing stand-up now?
Uh, it's funny. I started doing it, I think, in 2015.
Okay. You
Yeah, I
started in
started
Denver?
Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a funny story. I used to when I was training for MMA, and I got kicked out of the team because I wanted to do jujitsu on the
Uh-huh.
side just so I could be a better grappler.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got kicked out because the coach got jealous, and uh, and I was just like, man, maybe this is just not my thing because there were no gyms in Puerto Rico really to do anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially at the time, jujitsu is so new over there right now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, now you have like one of the greatest moved there now, Gordon Ryan. But during that time, I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and a promoter found out that I got kicked out, and he was just like, "Hey, man, if you want, I can find you a gym, but you know what? Just to piss this guy off, you should announce at my promotion just to piss him off." And I was like, "Okay, I'll take it." It was my first time doing announcing, so I was just like, I never stood in front of people before and
Really?
talk. That always scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So I went there, I announced, and I was like, cool. And then I went to go drink right after the event, and of course, a few beers in me, I saw one guy that is gonna do like a comedy show. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's good. I'm sure you got this all the time. Like, I always wanted to do comedy. Let's like, is there an opening? And the guy's like, yeah, you can try it out next weekend. I was like, yeah, I'm down. I'm down. And then the next day, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But it's because I
Yeah.
got rid of the stage fright. I just
Oh,
got rid of the
hilarious.
stage fright. Yeah, and I just prepared like a good 10-minute set.
Damn.
And yeah, it was my first one, 10 minutes. And because there was no really much comedy in the west side of Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
and I killed it for my first time. I was like, cool,
Nice.
like I is what I like to do. It was really fun. And then I started doing gigs in the metropolitan area, and then I kept being consistent until I moved to Denver, and then I was just pursuing over there
Mm-hmm.
because like rent is so expensive. I was just like, I
Yeah.
gotta work, and
It's so hard to hit the open mics and stuff when you're working that hard just to pay
yeah.
rent.
And then if you do have time, you're just mentally drained from work because
For
I was just
sure.
a cook too. So I'm like mentally, physically drained. All I wanted to do was just lie on my couch and just be a piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I moved to New Mexico is when I started doing it again after Jamie Kilstein did a seminar here.
Okay.
And I'm sure you know who's Jamie Kilstein, right?
I actually don't.
He did this podcast in New York called Citizens Radio.
Uh-huh.
And he was on Joe Rogan's podcast a few times. He was like this
Okay.
liberal social justice warrior. He got
Yeah.
canceled. He's coming back now, and he he was trying to get his comedy back up, and he was doing a jiu-jitsu seminar because he's a brown belt under like a high level coach,
Oh,
Marcel
wow.
Garcia. So he was just doing a seminar there, and then I got to hang out with him after the seminar. And he was like, "Dude, just get back into comedy, like
Mm-hmm.
do it, man. Like you're gonna regret it if you don't do it." And
Sure.
and it's funny because I was watching that episode of Joe Rogan that he was on. It was Joe Rogan telling him to do that. It's like,
Oh,
dude, get
really?
back into comedy, man. Like, just get back at it. So I thought it was like really cool for him to like give me that push and started doing open mics here. Then I did that show Red Gorilla with you, and right now it's like my main priority at the moment is jujitsu, but if I have gigs, then I'll just go
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
because comedy is always going to be there,
Yeah.
and I always want to keep myself sharp, but like due to the lockdowns and there are no bars open, I'm not going to give myself that headache at the moment, especially being so like kind of fresh in the game here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so hard to stay sharp right now.
Yeah. I feel so rusty, bro. I'm like not looking forward to the first mic after a long time.
I can't wait to go to the first open mic that opens here. It's just to see how rusty everybody is.
Yeah, right. They're probably going to either go over or just go under their time limit
Yeah.
for sure.
Everyone's going to have so much new material about the
Yeah.
lockdown, and everyone's going to go over.
So how was that lockdown, everybody? Am I right?
Oh, yeah. We're going to hear so many of the same jokes, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure, dude. That's why I'm writing jokes that has nothing to do with COVID right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then everyone does that, and then no one has COVID jokes. And
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
How funny.
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
real.
really liked your set when we did that show together. That was really solid.
I appreciate it. I
yeah,
was
for
really
sure.
nervous, man, because
Were
I was
you?
just like, yeah, because I haven't done it in a while, man.
Yeah.
I think that was
Well,
my
you didn't
first.
seem nervous at all, which is nice, you know?
It's a poker face, bro.
Yeah.
I'm always nervous. I have anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that was a fun show, man. I didn't know what to expect with there wasn't much of an audience, and
I like how you were just playing with the crowd through the phone, bro. That was so good. I didn't think of that. That was just so.
I was trying to keep up with the comments.
Yeah, that was hilarious, dude.
It was funny to see myself on my own phone, like just seeing myself perform. Like it's like, I don't know. It was pretty fun though. Yeah. I'm glad there are at least some bartenders and stuff like that, to laugh.
Yeah,
that helped a lot.
If it was just one person there, I probably would not do it. I remember doing a Zoom comedy show with Adam Hunter from MMA Roasted, and bro, I bombed.
Oh,
dude.
really?
Zoom shows are not my thing.
You don't know if you bombed or not.
Well, true, but I just felt it, man. I felt so awkward because I was seeing myself just like talking. And I was like, oh my God, dude, you look like shit. Why are you performing like this in front of Adam Hunter? That joke didn't work. It was in my head saying that to myself.
Yeah, how funny. Yeah, that show I did in LA with Dean Thomas was actually an Adam Hunter show.
Oh, no wonder.
Adam booked the show, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've known Adam for quite a while.
He's such a nice guy.
Super nice guy. I worked with him in Tucson, like in 2007. And I remember it was right around so he was training with Mac Danzig at the time.
Oh yeah.
And it was kind of funny because Jeremy Stevens had just beaten Mac Danzig, so I thought that was funny because my cousin was training with Jeremy and Adam was training with Mac. So
that's funny.
But yeah, I loved working with Adam. I ran into him again in Tulsa a couple years ago. He was out there doing a show, and I lived out there. There's actually an MMA gym right next to the comedy club for a couple years out there. It was, what was the guy's name that ran it? He was there one time too, and I met him. And his fist was like the size of my face. His last name was Nagura, I think. He was from Brazil. Just a big dude.
Was it Nogueira?
Nogueira? Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Antonio Nogueira?
That sounds right.
Yeah, Minotauro, right? The heavyweight.
Yeah, big dude.
Yeah, that's Big Nog, and then there's his little brother, Little Nog. Okay. They look the same,
it was
though.
Definitely the big dude, because
I
saw him, and I was like, damn, man, how big is your fist? And he held it up to my face, and it was like the size of my face. I was like, Jesus.
That guy's tough, man. That guy, I think he got hit by a truck, and that's why there's a scar on his back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Poor truck.
Right? Probably fucking triangle choked the truck, dude.
Yeah, that dude was huge, man. Like, I remember just walking out one day, and he was out there, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Feel bad for anyone that had to fight that guy.
That's hilarious. Did you see that Adam Hunter has a comedy special out on UFC
Fight Pass?
That's a big deal, man.
Dude, that's huge, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's very big, man. He's been doing a lot of good things the last few years.
I mean, he's been at it for like 20 years, right?
Yeah. First time I met him was probably 2004 or 5.
Damn.
In Albuquerque.
That's crazy.
And, he was kind of a cocky asshole the first time I met him.
Really?
I didn't like him. And I gave him the wrong directions to get out of town.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah. Don't tell him I said that.
I mean, this podcast is.
But because some club owner had told me a story about him kind of being a douche. So, and then he was kind of a dick when he was here too. And I was like, all right, I'll give him bad directions. But then we worked together a few years later, and he was super cool and just,
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
It's when I first talked to him, I was like, man, this guy might be a dick just because
Yeah.
he's known for roasting fighters, man.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's known for talking shit about like Kevin Gastelum's weight all the time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, man, this guy might be like really rough to like talk to. And then he's like, sure, you want to get booked? I was like, oh, okay, that was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's it seems like he grew up a little bit from the time I first met him to the second time when I worked with him. Because he was super young and he was on MTV and stuff. So
yeah, I remember that.
Young dudes being on MTV probably be a little cocky.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when it comes to comedy, you can't really be an asshole just because you gotta get along with other comics too.
But it's such a small world too.
Yeah.
And word gets around like super fast.
Mm-hmm. For real. It's like if you can't really hang out with the other comics and then like, you're just not gonna, if you can't network, you're never gonna grow in the scene either.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. And of course being good at it, but if you bomb a little bit and you still come back, they'll still give you the chance because you're not an asshole.
For sure. Yeah, I remember this was probably about 2005 or so. I remember there's a guy who came to Laughs here in Albuquerque, and he was just such an asshole to everyone. And I just couldn't stand the dude. And then a friend of mine said he worked with him a week before in Tucson. Couldn't stand him, said he was an asshole. And then, so a lot of times back in those days, comedians would do a run where they'd go from Tucson to here in Albuquerque to Colorado Springs, and then do this club in Denver called Wits End, which isn't there anymore. So they would always do like those 4 weeks, back to back to back to back. And so a couple of weeks after that guy was in Albuquerque, I was up in Denver at the Comedy Works doing a set, and I was just hanging out in the green room, and I overheard these comics talking about a comedian that had gotten arrested at Wits End that weekend because he's being an asshole.
Damn.
And so I asked him, I was like, hey, is the comedian you're talking about so-and-so? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know that? I was like, oh yeah, he was in Albuquerque a few weeks ago. He's a fucking total douchebag. But
is he still doing comedy?
Yeah, I actually ran into him a couple of years ago. I was working at the Looney Bin in Tulsa. I was the door guy there. And he comes up and he's like, hey man, nice to meet you. And I was like, yeah, we've met. And he's like, well, I was probably an asshole, wasn't I? I was like, yep. He's like, man, I'm so sorry. He's like, I was such a fucking drunk back then. Just, I don't remember shit about those days. And he like gave me a hug. He's like, man, I really am sorry though. Like, I pissed a lot of people off back then.
It's the thing about art, man. It just pulls the weeds, man.
Yeah.
And like, if you're not gonna change, then you're just not gonna grow.
Yeah. It's sad, man, because there's so many talented comics out there that just, they don't do it because they're so addicted to whatever it is they're addicted to, and I've seen so many great comics just disappear because of it. Yeah. And it's really too bad,
There was this comic in Colorado, and I was just, dude, he was killing it. He was good. He was a really good comic. And it was just during the open mics. We were both starting at the same time. And he was just saying his plans. Like, I was overhearing his plans and stuff to like other comics that were just hanging out. And he was killing it one night. And then I saw him coming out of the bathroom. So I was like, hey, dude, that was an awesome set. Great job. And he was like, like very just cocky.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, well, I see you. And then I haven't heard anything from him ever since because you'll see like shows being headline and nothing. I guess people just have that similar experience,
Mm-hmm.
And you could be good.
Bad, yeah.
I know. So people get in the way of themselves.
Especially in Denver, there's so many fucking good comics there. Like, it's humbling, for me when I moved up there. I was like 10 years in. I was like, okay, I'm pretty solid, Then I get there and I was like, holy shit, I'm probably not even in the top 50 here.
Actually, I was surprised by the comics here, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
dude,
more.
this scene has grown since because when I moved to Denver like in 2009, there were
Yeah.
hardly any comics here, and
Yeah.
yeah, so now being here, it's crazy. There's probably 50 or 60 comics. A lot of
Yeah.
them are solid, you know.
Like Joshua Fournier and like Zach
Yeah,
Bates, those guys are fucking killers. I
yeah.
love their comedy.
Hmm.
I had them on the show many times. They
Cool.
always kill it, man. They're
Yeah,
so hilarious.
great dudes too.
Hard
Yeah,
workers
yeah,
and easy to work with, easy to talk to,
for sure.
and they're just gonna make it. I
Hmm.
just know it.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing I love about Albuquerque now. There's so well, not now, but pre-pandemic, a lot of opportunities to get on stage,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. Because when I started, there was one open mic a month.
Damn, that's insane.
That sucked.
Yeah, I bet.
And so actually, that band that performed at Red Gorilla the week after we were there, they're good
Yeah.
friends of mine. I've known them for years, and they were kind of starting out when I was starting doing comedy. So they were starting to get gigs around town. So they would let me open for them while they're setting their equipment up. So that's how I got a lot of my stage time was just doing like 5 to 7 minutes here while they're setting their shit up, you know.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
And that's a tough crowd, dude. The fucking metal crowd.
Yeah, but are you hardcore?
You, you can get away with more stuff there too, though.
Yeah.
Like than you can.
I don't care about your diabetes. Just can you rock though?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a great time, man. So where can people find your podcasts at? You got 2 of them, right? Or 3?
Yes.
Is it 2?
I got 3. The other
Okay.
one's just still actually both are rebranding. Is Cover Your Mouth
Okay.
and Nasty and the Baby. They're both rebranding where Cover Your Mouth is going to be more MMA comedy oriented.
Mhm.
So if I don't have guests, I can do it solo, which is always something that I hate depending on guests too much.
Yeah.
Because
that's all I do.
Yeah.
I've never done a solo one. I'm gonna record a solo one either today or tomorrow though, just to see how it goes.
It's a challenge. I did it like a couple of times, and I'm like, okay, I understand how comics can get their material out of it because Bill Burr does that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and so I'm just gonna do that, and then I have Unemployed Commentators with Gary Miller, who's a comic for Denver.
Okay.
We just shoot the shit, talk sports, try to put in some one-liners in between, and just telling our bet picks. It's a fun podcast. I have a great time doing it.
That's
and
cool.
Then Nasty and the Baby's actually with my jiu-jitsu coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who's also getting into comedy too. So it's
oh, right on.
trip. Yeah.
And I'm guessing he's Nasty and you're the Baby. Is that?
Yeah, because my nickname's G Baby, and
Yeah.
his nickname is Nasty Nate Harris.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Where can people find you on social media, man?
Instagram is G_baby is not funny. And then Facebook and Twitter. I barely use Twitter, but it's going to be at GBaby is not funny.
Okay.
And yeah, for anyone who's listening, follow. And if you guys want to talk shit in my DMs, that's fine too. I shoot the shit with you too, man.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on today, man. It's a lot of fun to talk to you. I was a little nervous because I don't know you very well, so I was like, man, am I going to be able to talk to him for 40 minutes and not look like a total douche?
Nah, dude, thank you for having me on. It was
Absolutely,
fun.
man. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get to do a show sometime soon together, man.
For sure, man. I'm always ready.
I'm glad you're staying in town, so
yeah, for sure.
Looking forward to see you again. Thanks again for coming on, man. And we'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Thank you,
have fun watching the fights, man.
You too.
All right. Take care, buddy.
You too.
Bye. Bye. It was a lot of fun talking to Giancarlo. Super nice guy. Really funny. Also, if you get a chance to see his stand up, go check it out. Hopefully, we'll be doing a show together sometime soon. If anything ever opens back up in Albuquerque. So yeah, not a lot going on lately. I did do a show in South Dakota last Saturday, the 16th, with my good buddy Don Morgan, and that was a lot of fun. Drove up to Denver on Thursday, and then Don and I drove up to South Dakota Friday. And then had the show Saturday, so we got to hang out a little bit. And God damn it, it was cold up there. Show went well. It was nice. Wasn't sure what the turnout would be, but it was pretty decent. Had a good show. Don did well, even though he hadn't been on stage in over a year. Which is crazy. But he did it. Did a good job. He did like 26 minutes. Pretty solid. So it's cool. Trying to think of what I got coming up. I just got selected for the Tower City Comedy Festival, which is in Paris, Texas. That's got pushed back to March 26th and 27th. It was supposed to be first week of February, but they pushed it back. It's going to be some really good comics on that. I'm excited about that. I'll be at Birmingham, Alabama in March at the Stardome with Steve McGrew, March 11th through the 14th. That's all I got really right now. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing and all that stuff too. And I do have a new website for the podcast, intheripodcast.com. So I post all the episodes there. You can see the video portion or check out the audio portion as well. Also, thanks to the Barelas Podcasters Guild. They've been really, really cool about promoting local podcasts in Albuquerque. Go check them out. I think it's BarellasPodcastersGuild.com. Could be wrong. Just Google it. Also want to thank John Singleton, Anesthesia, and Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup for music. And as always, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. And hopefully I'll be doing a solo podcast soon. Actually, I will be. If it sucks, I won't be posting it. So, all right. See you later.